In a world of my own, things would make sense. You could have common sense. There'd be peace on earth and global communion. Hey, welcome to another edition of Up and In It, guys. I got home yesterday from running around, getting stuff ready for my new business with my daughter, changing diapers, building baskets, and I just had a sense of flow, right? I already had some albondigas. I made mention before of how technology, how the phone actually improves quality of life. If anybody who knows me, I fucking suck at, god damn it. Adult content, don't play it in front of kids, I guess. Fair warning. We'll work on that. But yeah, I made albondigas and I found a recipe on my phone, and it's just, the phone improves such good quality of life, but especially with a dumb ape like me trying to cook. But I made meatball soup, guys, and it came out fantastic, and I made a bunch of it. And I made salmon steaks, stuffed salmon steaks. I had just basically the food. Everything was set up. I was tired. I'm running 24/7 right now. We are just on it. I mean, going for it. I own my own business, my construction business, and I'm starting a new business and another business and building websites and buttons and knobs and esoteric fucking things that I'll never understand. But having that flow just really got me. I think there's a lesson, like, the older and older you get, it's the old saying of Confucius, the knife is sharp. You don't know until you actually get cut, and you're like, holy shit, the knife is sharp. Now I understand on a deeper level. Same thing when you get older, I think. Like, you get an epiphany, or you understand something, and then you keep getting it. Like, everything has these levels. Like, it's almost a video game, but to me, it's like, it just gets deeper and deeper, and you just get to know these things. And that's, on a positive note, that's what I felt. The flow was just like, I can get used to this. Thank you, past self, for taking care of us. So the evening was effortless as far as the food goes, changing diapers of my special needs kid. Everything's all set up, planned, and just running like a clock. And today's show is about, is the struggle real? Is it? Does it have to be? Do things have to be this real? The struggle is definitely fucking real. But who's the one pushing the buttons, Who's the Wizard of Oz guy behind the curtain? Is it you? Is it me? Is it the system? Is it the dentist? We want to take a good look at that. And I think that this is the shit that can wear people out. And I think towards your later part, I think that's why old people are fucking cranky. I think that's my fucking problem too. Got, fucking buttons and knobs and... All right, let's get into it. Hey, welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, welcome as well. If you're wondering what the show is about, it is entirely dedicated to creating an alternative lifestyle design that improves quality of life for people and for planet, exploring alternatives to the daily grind through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life. Raw! Cool, I think I got rid of the phlegm, guys. I'm still got that strep fucking throat. Mucus coming out, in case TMI, in case you need to know. Stuff's like cement. It is Sunday morning, driving to work. That's the background noise. Sorry, guys, I am not in my studio. So for the rest of the year, well, not the rest of the year, but the rest of this winter, until I do my mini retirement, where then we'll be doing our podcasts broadcasted out of a cleaner environment. So, yeah, let's talk about the struggle, guys. What's going on? What can we do about it? So I want you guys to bear with me, because usually everybody gives you all the negative shit, and you're like, good God, dude, let's talk about some answers. But I just wanted to kind of skim over a couple. So, old people giving up. And it's not just in, I would say, money, but like your health. If you don't take care of your health, you got just one thing after another. Kind of like a car, it gets a flat tire, then it needs a starter, the cooling system's going out, and it needs an engine overhaul, and whether if you maintenance that thing and you took care of it and you loved it, it'd be operating on maybe a lot better than what it could. It's not so bad. And I have seen people taking care of themselves, elderly, who are still, I talk about that a lot, but I think it's pretty important, because that's what I do. I think a lot. I look around me. I like this particular podcast, the information. What is the struggle? What's going on with those who came before me? What did they have to go through? Where are they now after they went through everything? If this system is so perfect and so nice, get married, have kids, go to college, get a house, not necessarily all in that order, I guess, get a mortgage, which we're going to talk about today. all of those things, then are these people happy? And I don't see it. I see it on some of them, but it seems like a grueling thing. So on organization, I think I observe myself on how, by not being organized, going looking for something, you know, you say you got a bunch of knickknacks, you spill a bunch of stuff over, and you're just trying to find that thing, you know, or you're getting hacked in your bank account. It's all the fine print. It's all the little fucking things. It reminds me of constantly having to flea bomb your house, your mind, your spirit, and everything. And then next thing you know, you get fleas again, and they're just little ones. They're not big, but they're constantly sitting there nipping at your heels, bleeding you out. And eventually, you get pretty irritated and you get tired. But I notice myself when I get out of the role, when I get out of my flow with like my food and stuff, it's like, God damn it, I wasn't watching the milk. The milk's spoiled. When you eat organic like I do too, you buy some fucking spring mix lettuce, that shit's gone in like 2 days. It's already starting to mold and curl and rot. It's horrific. It's like you got to really be on top of stuff. If you're not eating food with preservatives, it's a pain in the ass, you know? It's a pain in the ass. But that's the whole system of my life that I look at, is it's getting better and better. Instead of ruining my kid's day because I had a bad day, you know, I couldn't find something, I stubbed my toe, you know, by everything moving smoothly, you actually operate better as a person, and your kids, those around you, will experience it as well. That's what I hope with the show, is to emanate that ring of energy, of knowledge that, look, we don't have to struggle. So I think a question I think I've said on the show before too is, one should ask themselves, are things getting better and better every year? Or is your life, are the things you look forward to, like, I think we just had these New Year's resolutions and stuff, and that's one of mine, is like, I want to make my life even better than it already is. And I think if it's not, you definitely need to change stuff, man. Meaning that every year should have a progression, a major progression forward into bettering your life, not backwards, like, oh my God, not this shit again, you know? And so, yeah, you guys, how much of that struggle is actually our device, our doing, our making of it, us supporting it, and what can we do about it? So I see people who are serious, I think are smart, like my kid, my daughter, we just had this conversation. And I think I mentioned it on the last podcast, was that I told her, I says, life doesn't have to be this way. I understand you probably look at me included, working my ass off right now, and you're like, dude, that sucks. This guy's not going out to parties, not doing Fridays. Look at Sunday morning, my dad gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning, works on show notes for a podcast, and he's building these baskets, and now he's going to go put a roof on. And then you look at those around you who are just pissed off, divorced, and, you know, spiritually fucking handicapped, and creatively depressed, you know, and it doesn't seem like a good thing, but it doesn't have to be that way. And I think that's what we have before us, is we have a lot of these examples that we look and say, oh, this is what is then. So I either choose this or I choose that. So like my daughter says, she wants to be a Chris McCandless, you know, an into the wild kind of person, and just live life free off the cuff, and so she can be happy and do what she wants. So I think that possibly the message here I have is, we're sitting on the fence, not knowing which side to jump over. And a lot of us will be sitting there for the rest of our lives, if not for most of it, for the rest of our lives. And I see people like kids, I see people like that I know right now who are like, I want to go live free, but I don't like the stuff, you know. There's a lot of things that come with living free. We spoke about just going vagabond, you know, homeless, you know, moving to places like Slab City, the last free place in the world. And I'm not endorsing saying that anybody should, unless you feel like you want to. But there was a lot of stuff that was happening over there. There was, what is it, MRSA? You know, some crazy contagious disease, something that popped up. The recent thing was that there's a bunch of dogs dying, like some kind of kennel cough. People over there took took their pets to the vets. And the vets said they couldn't understand why, but dogs are just fucking dying. So there's this weird, crazy stuff. You know, young girls trading sex for protection and food, and like the stories I hear, like, it's crazy. But even if you were just traveling around, you know, me and the Mats, the Ma the Mama Strega yesterday we're talking about, because she got, I infected her. Yes, Mom, I gotcha. We were talking about being sick, and you're on the road. Where do you pull over to go be sick if you're vomiting, and you got diarrhea and bad stuff happening? Like, so without being hassled by the man. Or you look at the spectrum of working your fucking ass off, and having to deal with the fine print and doing all these things, living life in the cubicle, following the road like I'm driving right now, and you're like it's a giant aquarium. Do you live that life? Could there be a happy medium? And I think so. That is my dying wish. My life's work right now is to live a better life and try to marry the two. So yeah, I think that's why we have a lot of people who are homeless, because they look at that shit and they're just like, dude, I'm not going to be a 9-to-5er. I'm not going to go through all this stuff and be miserable. I'd rather take my chances, have a free handout from the government for medical, food stamps, and let all the people who are working like us, like me, pay the fucking taxes. I'm not too happy about that, but hey, what are you gonna do? So yeah, homelessness, and I think kids, I think the smart ones can get terrified on the whole matters. I know I did when I was younger. But let's look at some stuff now. Well, last one here. From what it is said from Google, depending on which goggles you're going to put on, that the word mortgage means death grip. I think it was in Latin, morg meaning grip, and gauge meaning death. So it's a death grip. This weird stuff. That one, if that one's truly true, that is fucked up, man. It's like they're just waving their middle finger in our face, like. But if you think about all these things in life that we're coming to the conclusions, guys. You think about these things, like me, I'm in my mid-40s. To go get a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage, I may never pay this thing off and be alive to see it. I'll be in debt for the rest of my life. I screwed up, or did I? Anybody taking in this life, I think the answers to the struggle is, are you taking on more than you can actually achieve? Are you looking at the ROI, the return on investment? What makes sense? How much time are you willing to devote to whatever it is that you're doing? And will it better your life every single year? What does this component that you're going to introduce, what does it do for your life? To get that perspective. Having a house, look at me right now for examples. For those of you who maybe just be tuning in or don't know my story, haven't listened to a lot of my podcasts. Right now, my new business is a biodegradable container gardening system. And I've already got plots. I don't own land, but I've got an entire farm that I could utilize. And all I have to do is give food to the people and pay the water bill. In one of these instances, they got well water, so I won't even be paying for water. It's free. And it's all ran by solar, which is awesome. So leveraging and finding out different things, different angles that you can do, exploring alternatives to the daily grind, not just meaning money, but your life. There's always ways, and I think you guys can't give up. I don't know what each individual situation is, but you got to keep fighting for yourself, and you got to keep looking for them. So I want to speak about marriage of technology and nature, that there's a happy medium. This flow that I was talking about yesterday, I've got a thermal cooker. It's like a giant thermos, right? I could cook two different things, like rice and soup in the bottom that's interchangeable. You can make cupcakes and spaghetti and all kinds of stuff. Cakes, breads, from what I heard, while you're cooking something else in the bottom. And all it does is you heat it up. It takes no energy. Low energy. You get it started, kind of like a Hawaiian luau, the way they bury the meat wrapped in banana leaves or wet sheets underneath the ground, and it comes out just tender as shit. That's what a thermal cooker is. It saves you time, it saves you money and energy. Like, you don't even have to think about it. They're really bitching. By the way, like, I can say if I wanted to go camping, I can literally throw a one-pot meal together, or even a two-pot, like rice on the top and maybe some chili on the bottom. I can heat that up in the morning and then put it in my truck, go camping. By the time dinner time comes, that shit's already done. It cooked itself and it's still hot. So it's things like that, a Vitamix and a juicer, these things that improve your life and make things relatively quick. Like my question, one of them, beyond the thousands. I'm a freak, guys. I really don't get out much. I work a lot, and I'm on a mission to fucking break the system and create something new for myself and better my life for me and my family. So I explore everything. But that state of flow, my question was with technology, all of these advancements, the client I'm working with right now has got a bread maker and stuff, and he's like, you just throw the parts in there, water, whatever, the flour, and you walk away. You can smell this thing coming out through the roof vents, man. It's good. It smells really good. But looking at all these pieces of machinery, electric fencing for chickens, and like you can keep them confined, and automatic water feeders and automatic feeders, and like aquaponics, and my biodegradable container gardening system that's almost completely automated with drip irrigation and everything. I've done zero work, and things are just growing themselves basically. All I got to do is harvest. So how many things that we can use in this beautiful day and age, as I said, beautiful. I think a lot of people are complaining, saying things are fucked up. I think it's one of the best times to ever be alive. And my question is, though, what is possible? What kind of machine can we build by grabbing all of these components, all of these things, that even one person by themselves, because if you look around you, most of us are doing shit by ourselves, and it's pretty difficult. In the old days, for those of you who don't know, because it's been bred out of you and it's been hidden from you, I believe, that we all used to live together, grandmas and grandpas, like Willy Wonka, the old movie, all the grandparents laying in the bed together. It sounds kind of creepy right now that I just said it, but not like that. But yeah, the grandparents would help take care of the kids, and people would actually die in the home when they got of old age, and preferred to do that, which is an unknown thing anymore. There was no such thing as convalescent homes. Like, the family kind of pulled together, so did the community. But nowadays we're all doing things ourselves, and I'm not shit talking about that lifestyle, because I almost think that we should do things ourselves. I, for one, cannot find people that are a person of their word, or that can step beyond their ego or the interest of themselves, and see like what's good for the whole of, like, say, the planet and your community, your neighbors and everything. Don't just do it because it's good for you, but is this good for everybody? And in a community, I think that a true community leader, or a true community a giver, a person that would bring stuff, to design stuff, there it is, a community designer should have that effect, that is selflessness. This is for the group as a whole. And I think something's wrong with me, because I think I've been born with that, and I can't shake that. I always feel like everybody's problems are my problems. That's why I think I'm a good candidate for a podcast, because I'm constantly trying to engineer my way out of things, and seeing things around me. I'm like, hey, what could we do that's different? So, I don't think doing it by yourself isn't necessarily a bad thing, and I think it might quite be a peaceful thing. But I think, unlike any other time in history, with the tools and advancements that we have at this day and age, that something like that could be seriously possible. Because the name of the game is to simplify, right? But back in the old days, we made all of our own food from scratch. We grew all of our own food. But nowadays I look, and there's no place to forage, to go in the forest and hunt for truffles and mushrooms and animals. Like you've got the fine print, as I opened up with. There's no place to go. Everything is fenced off and regulated. So to go and do it yourself, the amount of money, like who's going to pay the property taxes and the death grip, the mortgage and everything else, while you're out trying to raise your own fucking food. So that's what I'm saying, is that could there be a happy medium? Does this struggle have to be a struggle? Is there a way that we can kind of utilize these things? And I think that I am, and that's what I experienced the other day. So I'll throw out a couple before I get to my job here. And it's a lot of things that I've already said on various other podcast shows, but like by the meal planning. And I'm not saying I'm an angel. I think maybe I'll do a TikTok video. My organic salad's probably already starting to rot. I fucked up on that. But for the most part, I've been meal planning. Like, we have salmon steaks, right? Now I got a 13-year-old too, a girl, my daughter, and bought some stuffed salmon steaks. Those things are yummy, man, with the crab meat and everything in them. And it was a special meal. It's Saturdays. That's my days, as I do, like, let's do something fancy, something good, a barbecue. Didn't show up, so I had 4 of them. So me and my daughter are going to eat them again tonight on Sunday night. But I had the albondigas, the meatball soup. I literally did not have to cook really anything. I had to warm stuff up. But in the initial cook-off, I had basically about a week's worth of food, of dinners. And everything was pre-planned. It was all meatball soup. We kind of alternated with the salmon. And everything went fantastic. And I think that's meal planning is probably, when you're a homemaker, it's probably one of the biggest things I've heard. Women driving themselves crazy, like, God damn, I don't know what to cook tonight. Oh my God, this went bad. I mean, I had the Xbox, the ex-wife, one time made some oxtail soup, man, and it was late. I was working. I had me a couple beers, and I ended up eating it. It was rotten. She left it on the stove. I don't know why, and I got food poisoning. That was about 2 years ago, and I mean, coming out of all ends, guys, it's horrific. I don't know where I'm going off on that spur, but yeah. So the meal prepping, I think, is definitely something that makes things run smooth, and using things like the Vitamix. If you guys don't know, I pre-make my breakfasts, my smoothies. I use protein, vegetable organic protein powders with like soy milk or coconut milk, banana. Frozen fruits is wonderful because you can keep the frozen fruits inside your freezer. They don't go bad, and you just toss them together. You can make 2 big giant batches in your Vitamix and have breakfast for the entire week. You take like 3 or 4 of them at max, 4 at the max, I would say. I've got an upper hand on you guys because I got a solar fridge in the back of my truck. So I just popped like 4 of them in there. Take the other 3, put them in the freezer. Make sure you leave about an inch to an inch and a half on the top so they don't crack your jars. I put them in quart-size mason jars. And that way you just pop them out and you've got your shit. You don't even have to think. It's healthy. You're stacking functions. You're saving money. You're losing weight. It's saving you time, all the way across the board. Wonderful thing. So it's things like that. The juicer is the same thing. Juicing, I think, could be one of the best things that anybody could do in their lives. Coupled with exercise, you've got the Grand Prix winner right there, man. But just if you're not going to do anything else but juice, people would say, well, that's expensive. I can't afford to juice, and it takes a lot of time. No, it doesn't. You can get a Jack LaLanne, I think it is, juicer I got. That thing takes... I squirt it off. I have a man sink, so I've improved my life. You know, I made a 5-gallon bucket with a drain on it, and that automatically just goes into a 2-inch pipe and goes right over to the septic. And I don't have to really deal with anything. I just rinse things whole. So I'll take the whole juicer, the Vitamix, and I got a spray nozzle, right, for the garden, and it just has a jet on the end, and I'll just take and I'll just fucking blast everything off. Give it a good wipe down. If you're using anything but oil, like milk, oils, and meats and stuff, I think you should definitely wash with soap. But if you just got some vegetables, just rinse the shit off. You don't gotta wash it with soap. You know, every once in a while, yeah. But it's expensive. No, it's not. Carrots and beets and apples and celery. All these things are really, really cheap, and they keep very well. You don't got no time and you're tired of throwing stuff away. I got apples that have been sitting in there for like a week and a half, okay? Carrots and stuff too. That's why I do what I do. They're cheap, they're easy, and they're healthy. I think that once a month, time management is what you should do. Is once a month go over your bank account and make sure there's no fraudulent stuff going on in it. Streamline. Get yourself notes. Get yourself a system. Treat your life like a business. So these things that I just been kind of throwing over with you, I've thrown them over before, these examples, the list goes on, and I think I want to do a specialized podcast, but I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not getting any comments. Guys, please comment and let me know what you want to hear, but I think we should do a specialized show on how to turn the struggle into a non-struggle. I think one of mine is a podcast coming up I like. It's called Unfuck Yourself. You got fucked? Let's unfuck you, okay? I just like the title. I don't know why. But yeah, run your life like a business, guys. Get things organized. Get a system for your life that's going on. That's why things run away from us. Because if you get home and you don't have a plan, you don't have order in your life, you don't have discipline for you, your children, your pets, you know, and discipline to your system that you're creating to get yourself more freedom, then you ain't got nothing. It's all going to fall apart. One thing I've learned was from I think they were Amish or something close to it. They were living simple, basically. And the guy was a restaurant manager. And that's what he said he does for his house, is he runs things like a restaurant. And I'll make it quick, because he said, like ketchup and mayo. They'll have ketchup and mayo sitting in this pantry, in the shelf. And what they do is, as soon as they pull the ketchup out, there's one right behind it. They pull that one forward, and they, on their grocery list, goes, get another ketchup. Because like a restaurant, you don't want to lose out on customers by not having supply, right? So he says, as soon as they have that last ketchup or mayo, whatever you have that's up to the front, you put that on the list, and next time you go to the grocery store, you buy it. And this goes not just with condiments, I'm saying with everything, eggs and breads and potatoes and whatever you've got. Always keep a rotation. And then he says, as soon as they screw up, and not do that, they would end up buying food and ruin their whole system and their budget. They would go right out the window because they weren't staying with it. The other thing I can tell you guys right now of stacking functions with that system is you're buying stuff for cheaper. You could buy it in bulk. And one of the things I like is during a catastrophe, like a major earthquake or tornado or something, you've got a whole supply of food just sitting right there. Me, I have an entire month's supply of drinking water, of food. So I would be sitting happily, you know, and I save myself money, and my life's organized, and it's not a hustle and bustle on that end anyways. We're working on the rest of it, but that's the show, guys. So as I always say, well, go check it out, Up and In It. It's all the platforms. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all that. Go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire, human up, live it, love it, own it, and bone it.